What's up guys, it's Mike from Job Read English here with a compilation of the best answers to the best interview questions in 2022. And when we're talking about what this is, which is a competency-based question, so a time you manage multiple deadlines successfully, you really want to think about, well, how did I manage my time and how did I organise my time? Very often when I listen to candidate answers, what they tend to do is that they'll just kind of say, well, I had to do this, this and this, and I did it, and then it was successful. But they won't actually explain the process, the underlying process behind this. So what this basically means is say for example, a very common response that I've seen for this question is that they have to balance their university, their working life, and potentially their personal life as well. So you would actually describe the mechanisms that you have used to do those things. What are the actions that you have taken? That's really the most important thing when answering a competency-based question using a STAR format, which is situation, task, action, result. Where were you? What were you doing? What is it that you did to get the result that you needed to achieve? So say for example, with meeting multiple deadlines, well, you probably diarise, you might time block, you may have to, drop certain things out, you might have to work longer hours, you might have to make sure, something very simple that I do is I have things that I do in the morning. For example, the filming right now, I tend to film all of my videos in a chunk, one morning every week. And then in the afternoon, I would speak to clients, do client admin, do internal stuff with the team. These are the things that I would make sure that I do. So I would also describe in my answer how I would set out my time and then how I made sure that the result that was achieved. Now, when talking about why this role, we really want to split this into two parts. The first part is going to be, what would you do? So the first minute of your answer, you really just explain what you would do in this job. The second part of your answer is going to be, what skills do you have that make you good for this job? So make sure that you have a copy of the job description to hand where they will lay out your responsibilities and also the skills that are required for the job. If you can't find a good job description for the job that you're applying for at NatWest, then just take the name of the job and just look for job description. I often like to use prospects.ac.uk, but there are lots of other great companies out there who will have more in-depth job descriptions. Now, when you're talking about the skills that are needed for you to be good at this job, just remember that you want to give skill plus experience equals good, right? So if you say, well, I'm really good at Excel, you want to prove that with a certain element of experience because I studied it during my course, because it was actually something that I was examined on during my qualification that I took, whatever it is, because otherwise a skill is just a skill and really it's just an opinion. So make sure that you put that into your answer. What will you bring to the team? So this is certainly a question where I would recommend that you read the job description. What very often tends to happen with these open-ended questions is people spend an inordinate amount of time just talking about themselves, and instead of basically thinking, well, what is it that I could do to really give you the skills that you need, they just talk about the skills that they have. So if you read the job description and you read the responsibilities and also the skills, what you're basically going to learn is that there'll be certain skills. So they could be coding skills that are required, they could be certain methodologies that they use, they could be soft skills that are needed. That's really how you're going to want to answer this question. You'll say, well, I need this shopping list of skills, and you'll return some of those back, maybe 3 or 4. Make sure with your skills as well that you share the experience that you've had that solidifies that skill. What is your approach to risk like? Now, this is quite a common question for banking, maybe more slanted towards risk management, finance or internal audit. But talking about people's approach to risk, whether that be talking about front office, middle office or back office, is really just kind of asking you, well, will you just go all in without having the facts? Are you cautious? Do you try and get additional sources of information? When is enough information gathered that you feel like that you can make a decision? What is your sort of tendency for basically making a decision where it seems relatively undetermined what the result is going to be? And I think really the safe answer to this question is to say, well, first of all, I make sure that I do my homework. Is this an area of expertise that I can really comment on? Do I need to ask for help? Do I need to go and outsource and seek additional sources of information? Is there anybody who I can model and I can look back on and think, well, how did they do it? and then improve upon that to make sure that I've given myself the best possible chance, quoting Warren Buffett, to really just minimize the downside or minimize the potential loss that this decision may involve. Tell me about yourself is a really great place to start if you've never prepared for an interview before. We always start off candidates by preparing a really good personal introduction, because this is basically you summarizing everything that you've done that you believe is relevant to an employer. And it's actually quite simple. It comes in 7 parts. So what are you doing right now? What have you done in the past 3 to 5 years? What would you like to do? What's your work experience? Extracurricular interest, skills, hobbies, and then finally I like to end with a hook, which is something that's quite interesting about you, that's unique, that maybe not a lot of people know, just something that kind of teases people in. So depending on the person, I might turn around and say, you know, I'm a keen runner, I enjoy martial arts, I like collecting coins, I'm a big bookworm, I'm an advertising geek, I love to write, I've written several books of poetry. These are all just different hooks depending on my audience that really leads that person to say, oh, tell me more. What is all that about, for example? Yeah, so tell me about yourself, and you really want to try and get this done and down to pat in 2 minutes or less. Most people tend to run long initially with personal introductions, but also this is your chance to make a really good first impression. I find a great personal introduction really sets the tone for the rest of the interview. Guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, drop us a comment down below and let us know, was this helpful? How could we make it better? What other videos would you like us to do? Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I wish you the best of luck in getting your job. See you later.